I'm bringing the August 23rd, 2022 board meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm filling in for Dave tonight. This is my first time up here, so be easy on me. I'm going to announce we had executive session tonight to discuss some professional services and personnel issues. And also, Chairman Kirkpatrick couldn't be here tonight. That's why I'm filling in. I guess we'll start with public comment. Bob Iyer. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what I was going to ask you for. Thanks. Joel Giovanetti, New Hope Ministries.
Thank you, Bob, for your prayer. That was very wonderful. As a way of introduction, my name's Joel Giovanetti. I work at New Hope Ministries in our development department. Many of you may be aware of New Hope Ministries. New Hope Ministries is a Christian social service agency that helps families and children, individuals that are struggling financially. Even though New Hope didn't help me out, the reason I came to work at New Hope Ministries is I myself was a child that grew up in poverty. What brought me this area was to attend Messiah College from 94 to 98. I grew up most of my childhood in Southern Virginia. I know what it's like for children, for families that are struggling financially, and to have people in their community rally around them and support them, whether that's the local schools, whether that's local nonprofits, individuals, municipalities. There's so much that each one of us can do to help other people in need. To share a little bit personally, I heard about New Hope Ministries when I was a first-year student at Messiah, when I was at the age of 17 years old. During my 4 years at Messiah, I volunteered in the youth programs. Ended up working at Phil Haven Hospital as a counselor. In 2002, a job opened up in New Hope. So from 2002 to 2018, for 16 years, I was able to be director of the youth programs. So I was able to see firsthand a lot of preschool children, elementary school children, middle school, high school kids that were really struggling financially. The last 4 years, I've been working in New Hope's development office. So I've had the unique opportunity and pleasure to be out in our local community. There are 55 different municipalities that are in New Hope's service area. I've seen New Hope go from having 3 centers to where we're now at 8 centers. So part of why I'm here is to let you know that there are many citizens in Newberry Township that New Hope currently supports and helps. New Hope's goal for people that are struggling financially is to help them, but we just don't want to see them survive. We want to see them thrive. So we've been able the last 7 to 10 years to develop a lot of different stability programs, not just in our youth programs, but for our adults. We have many different workforce development programs, budget classes that we teach. Our goal is to take people that are in poverty and get them to the point where they're able to be productive members of society and they're able to provide for themselves. Like I said, there's been many people in your township that we've been able to support and we've been able to help. We're actually in the process of opening up our 9th New Hope Center. That is not in Newberry Township, but it's right on as you go from into Fairview Township. So where West Shore School District is, on the other side of 83 at 539 Old York Road. We purchased a building over in that area. It's right near where Uncle B's barbershop is at. So we're going to be hoping sometime this fall opening that center. So we would love to have anybody that would want to volunteer to help us out there, whether that's through your churches, whether that's through the schools, neighborhood associations. Also for Newberry Township Municipality, another thing is we realized that COVID hit a lot of people really hard, obviously people that are in poverty. And we do know, and this is public knowledge, anybody can find this information out, is that the Pennsylvania government awarded each township ARPA funds. So for recovery, being able to help people through COVID. So I've, like I said, had the unique pleasure to talk to many different townships and municipalities, and we realized there's a lot of internal needs, a lot of structural needs, whether that's buildings and roads. But I would just ask if the Board of Supervisors, the township, if you just prayerfully consider supporting New Hope Ministries, ultimately the residents in your township, if there would be an opportunity to direct money from the ARPA funds to New Hope Ministries. We've had many different municipalities and townships that have awarded funds to New Hope so that we're able to continue to get people that are in poverty out of poverty. So we're hoping our target date was September 1st is when we were planning on opening up this new center out on Old York Road. It's probably going to be more until October, just because with ordinances and zonings and just all the process that it takes to get the building. I've been on vacation the last week and a half, but I do believe that everything closed and now we just want to get the building ready. So feel free anytime any of you are over there on Old York Road. You're welcome to see where that building is. We're here to help people. So if anybody that in the township, if you have any family members, if any of you need support, we're there at New Hope to support and help people. Like I said, I was a child that grew up in poverty. When I was in the 8th grade, my father at that time was working as a self-employed painter, and he hurt his back. And he didn't have any work because he hurt his back. And so my mom ended up becoming a waitress. And she worked hard, but she had to work 2 jobs as a waitress. I have 2 younger brothers. And, for a couple years, we really struggled financially. But our school district, local nonprofits, neighbors, so many people really rallied around and supported my family, so much so that it gave my mom the confidence as she was working as a waitress to get her teacher's degree. And she ended up retiring in 2019 after 20 years of teaching. So I've seen firsthand how a community can just support and help people that are in need. The packet that I gave you has a lot of information about New Hope, ways to volunteer, ways to support New Hope financially, whether that would be through business, individual support. ways that we help people and not just provide food, but like I mentioned about our workforce development. We have a nurse aid training program. We know that's a great field that we can funnel people into to become a nurse. We have a welding program as well, so we do a lot of outsourcing. There's many different programs that we have where we're getting people jobs in careers. Like I mentioned, my mom worked hard. She was a waitress, but there was only so much money that she could make as a waitress. And then when she was able to get involved in the career as a teacher, she was able to do well financially to support our family. And then when my father was able to get healthy, he was able to have work. So, I appreciate your time. If any of you would like to chat with me, if you are interested in receiving support at New Hope, if you want to volunteer at New Hope, if you yourself, if there's different ways in your life that you feel God has blessed you with different resources, whether that's financially, or if you have a vegetable garden. We have plenty of food that we like to give out to people. We have many farmers that will donate vegetables as well. So we know sometimes people may not have resources, money to share, but sometimes we have time. But ultimately, continue to support and pray for New Hope. We were able last year to over 20,000 people all through our different service areas. We were able to really support and really help people. As people come into New Hope, it's given them a sense of worth and a sense of dignity. I was embarrassed when I was, that age of 6th, 7th grade, when I was poor and, had holes in my shoes. And, at that time I was playing basketball and, wasn't able to have, decent tennis shoes and, basketball outfits or a really nice basketball, and for those 3 years, there were times that I felt shamed. I felt embarrassed, but looking back on it, I see how God used that as an opportunity now to come alongside other people that are needing a help up. My 14-year-old son, he's going to be going into 9th grade. We actually live over in Monaghan Township. He goes to Northern High School. And ever since he's been in preschool and even in elementary school, he's gotten a chance to know, obviously, the teacher and his classmates. He's been able to find out some of the kids that, maybe needed help financially. And he's gotten his teacher to do food drives, every single year. New Hope believes in it, ultimately a partnership, that we want groups to rally around people in our community to support and to help them. So right now we have many schools that we're working with where the principals, all the way from the superintendent, all the way down to teachers, to counselors, people that work in the office that know kids that are struggling financially, get those kids' families connected to New Hope. So yeah, I would enjoy, if any of you want, my business card is in the packet that's there. I'll stay here for a little bit if anybody would want to talk to me afterwards, just to see if there's opportunities where you would want to help and support other people. And like I said, if you are someone that's in need, please talk to us in New Hope. We're there to support and really encourage and help people. And like I mentioned about with ARPA, we do know that a lot of townships have already designated, funds to spend to certain things, and we know there's a time period of when that time has to be decided what to spend it on, and then the actual money has to be spent. So, if there is any funds that are available, we would greatly appreciate that at New Hope. To give you a range of kind of the different townships of support of New Hope, we have some that have given a couple $100, which we greatly appreciate. We have some that's given 1,000, some 10,000. I won't say who; it's confidential, but there happened to be, we'll say it's over in the Hanover area to support our Hanover New Hope Center. But there was a township that felt they had a lot of their internal needs by the residents and everybody in the community was already taken care of, and they ended up supporting New Hope and giving, I believe, like 1/5 of what they had given. But obviously that's something that has to be talked about and decided. And that would be wonderful. If it's already been decided on other things, we still would love to have people people volunteer, and we'd love to be able to give you a tour of the new center that's there over on Old York Road. But ultimately, like I said, we just want to help people that are in need. I'd love at some point in the future to talk with all of you. So thank you so much to what you do for your township and how you help other people in need. I've lived in Monacan Township for a long time, but often drive through Newberry Township, and we have friends that live in this township, and I know there's a lot of people in this township, including you, that support other people in need. So thank you. There are many people that you've helped at New Hope already. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you. Joel Washok? He's with Penn Waste.
Good evening. I'm Joel Washok with Penn Waste. I handle the municipal contracts for Penn Waste. I just wanted to come and speak about some of the service issues that we have been experiencing, not only in Newberry Township, but all over our service area, and what we're doing to make the service a little bit better for all of the residents. Some recent issues that I would want to speak on, we're still dealing with a CDL driver shortage out there, and that's really having the biggest impact on our staffing on a daily basis. On top of that, it's also crept into customer service as well. We were down 3 customer service reps for a while there. I have positive news on that a little bit later, but so that really kind of caused a lot of issues with phone calls coming into Penn Waste and not getting an answer within a reasonable amount of time. And then just notifications of residents regarding service issues, maybe not a route not completing or anything like that. And so basically what I wanted to do tonight is just touch base on what Penn Waste is doing to improve that for everybody, and just wanted to share that with you. So ultimately, we want to provide the residents with the service that they're paying for. And this is how we're going to make sure that that happens going forward. High level, we did some shifting around with our route supervisors. We decided to put in a route supervisor that actually used to drive Newberry Township's recycle route in the past. Her name's Missy, and she's actually a resident of the township as well. And she's very good at communicating with township staff immediately whenever there's an issue that may arise, so that we can get the notification out to residents on what's going on. Like I said before about customer service, we recently filled the spots for the customer service reps that were decided to either leave or retire or what have you. They are going through training right now, so it is a little bit more of a slower process, but we're working through it. They should be fully up and trained, or fully trained, some at the end of this week and some the following week. So hopefully that should help with call volumes. I do know the call volume, or the estimated wait time today was about 2 minutes or less, which is much better than what it was probably about a month ago in early July, where we had wait times on the phone for up to 30 minutes, and then it would get put into voicemail. Some other things that we're working on for in the future, not in place yet, but we're working on have like an app or a notification system to residents directly. It would just, obviously residents would have to opt into that. We couldn't just add their information into that, but we could notify residents immediately if a specific route was not completed for some reason, and how we were planning on rectifying that. Typically, our game plan is to get everything off the next day, so 24 hours after the collection is made, getting that rectified. So basically, I basically came here tonight. I wanted to apologize for some of the service issues that you're experiencing right now. We're working towards making things better, and I wanted to answer any questions that you may have.
They don't have any questions?
When is your contract up with us?
The current contract expires at the end of this year, but there are 2 extension years available. That is solely up to the township if they, well, it's bilateral. So
Is there going to
basically,
be a price increase?
The rates that your rates were already bid in the contract for the extension year. So that is already locked in, minus any disposal increases that have occurred over the life of the contract. That rate is set. If it were to go out to bid, I can't guarantee what that rate would be right now, but things have changed in the past 3 years. So
Any comments from the public? Questions? All right. Well, thank you.
It's been a rough year for everyone, so we appreciate you coming in and sharing that with us.
Okay, next up, Jane Harmon. Well, we're going to give you 6 minutes tonight.
Just you.
Jane Harmon, Hemlock Lane. I'm just gonna recap, well, first I'm gonna start on, I'm gonna go through some minutes, that I went through for the last year and a half, regarding the building, okay? I'll go through that and then I'll just do a little recap and I'll be done, okay? So, June 22nd, 21, Supervisor Wintermeyer asked for a motion to approve creating a committee My question is, what is the cap financially to the residents of this community?
Uh,
This thing has drastically
No,
grown
no.
like you won't believe. The
Well,
price.
the numbers you're saying, I'm not even aware of. So Tony, can you?
I'm not aware of it either, Jay. You're 8 point whatever.
Yeah.
You get all these things, and if you file for breaks and nose, you can find out anything. I spent days. developing.
That's a total different number than what the building is at right now, from what we all know. So I don't know where you got the numbers, but 5.8?
That's phase one,
Yeah.
what you're saying, 5.8.
Well, the recap, application, I know it was $7,041,000.
And does that number mean anything to you?
Yeah, the RACP grant that went in now has a number because of supplemental increases that are anticipated for low bar, but it also has things added that were not in the RACP grant the first time, like a generator. The grant writer had put a grant submission in for the generator, and a couple of other things are in there that weren't in there before.
Costs go up, is what I'm saying. And if I compared those applications, and for apples to apples, and everything is drastically going up. And I thought we had locked in the contract, is what I was told by this board, that last year, and that's good. The contractor gonna lock it in at that. I'm like, well, how can that be? Things are going up. Well, no, we got a contract on that. So I just wanted this clarified. When do we stop this?
Well, let me, before I answer that question, so the 7 point, what was 7 point what million?
7,041,956.
So that's for grant submission, is that what you're
The-
saying?
For the grant submission, to get 50% of that, and then the rest of it,
Although that we didn't include phase two in that, that's another 725,000.
Well, phase two, we never even.
We've not
discussed
even been
yet.
talking about phase two, like, that's really not on the
Fa-
table at this point.
If you get that grant for $4 million or whatever, we gotta match it. Phase two will be going on.
Well, they match what we spend, we don't have to spend what they, like, we gotta spend it and they match it. We don't have to, if we apply for $8 million, we don't have to spend $8 million. And we have no intention of spending $8 million. The current price of the building is 5.8, which is more than the 5.4.
Well, it was 4.6 and there was 4.3.
Well, I think the 3.6 was way early in the game.
Right. But that's when you get people on board and they're like, oh, well, it's only $3 million and they have money and it'll be okay. But when you keep adding this up and we're getting, over 5 million, and I just want to make sure the public is aware, this thing is growing.
Okay, currently, the building, phase one, is at 5.8 and some change, not 7 point. That's not a building cost, that's 7 point. So that's a little, I'm not saying you're intentionally misleading the numbers, but,
I'm not, I'm reading it from the.
yeah, but that's not,
Exactly what I read on that grant.
so the building did go up from the locked-in price because that time lapsed. Like, they're not gonna hold a price forever.
Yeah, they held the price for a while for us, hoping we were gonna get grants, and they kind of put it off, then it got to the point where we had to either get our grants or move on to another price. That was like in March of last year, somewhere around there. They kept on holding it off for us, and they were pretty good about it, actually, but,
So it's bid through the Gordian.
and that's every 3 years?
So they just redid the numbers per the contract they have with the Gordian.
Yeah,
Like,
Gordian ran
They
out.
can't just pull numbers.
Rob, am I correct? Gordian ran out January 22 is when that Gordian contract ran out, but they kept it for us for a couple more months, hoping we would get our grants, but we never did.
So that's why it went up this last time.
And now they're going to redo their prices for Gordian, so it's every 3 years. But they held that price for us, hoping we were going to get our grants, but we haven't received our grants yet.
And to be honest, honestly answer your question, we haven't discussed as a board, I don't think, a cap. But I can tell you it's not $8 million.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Connie Flasher? Hi.
I don't mean to be rude, I have to go to the bathroom quick.
You want me to wait for you?
You can go ahead. I'll catch up.
Something's not working?
No, you're done.
You're done. I can yell.
No, we don't want that either.
Yeah, that's all right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, now you can do a do-over. Okay, my concerns are much the same as Jane's, and I've gone through all of the minutes and as well, and old business and such. And there's been, it seems, some discrepancy. Back in 8/24 of last year, there was not going to be any fill on the site, and Tony had corrected that in the minutes. But then the fill appeared in the site, and then we've paid for the fill along with everything
Can you
else.
hold on? Does anyone hear that
Something-
noise?
Yes, it's, oh,
That's really distracting, sorry, I don't want to.
okay. Quit playing with the mic. I don't know where he went. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. So one of my big questions is there a spreadsheet somewhere that actually has the cost broken down for phase 1, phase 2, much like the line items that Pannoni did on their sheets, or Gordian? And is there like that shows revenues? Okay, if you use the bond money that was just finished in 2022, where's that money come in? Where, what is the USDA going to pay? What is the next grant going to pay? And then there was a mention of the money for the CARES Act. How much did we get? It was never mentioned in the minutes. The minutes are kind of vague in a lot of ways, and it says, well, we got it, but doesn't say how much. It says it's an obligate account, which is okay, but how much is it? And if that money is going to be used towards this project, I would think, and in other municipalities, all of these line items would be, this is the revenue where this can come from. This is the expense that it's going to cost us in phase 1, phase 2, for land development, for water and sewer, for your permits, for your inspections. I'm not even seeing anything for that. I think there was one mention of one figure that said 46,000, and I think in the minutes it said, well, this includes permits and inspections. Did it include the plan reviews? Were they reviewed by L&I? It never mentions, and once again, I go back to, I've researched all the minutes. There is nothing in your minutes that says who the building inspectors are. It doesn't say, it gives you a fee at the beginning of the year in your schedule fee, but it doesn't tell you who the inspectors are. It doesn't tell you whether you've opted in or out of the L&I for building permits. This is going to be a huge building. It's going to be a public building. It needs to be inspected for ADA and all of the other things that it needs to be inspected for. Who's going to handle this? I've gone through, and I think Mr. Brandt's only been here about a year, not even, I don't think. I did see it, yeah. I saw it in the minutes, but is he certified to do the inspections? Is he going to be doing anything there? Or is it all going to be third party? If so, who's the third party? None of that is spelled out in your minutes at reorganization, in the resolution, I think it was 2-22, which gave the fees or the salaries of employees and such. Nothing is mentioned about building services. This is a huge building. This is a huge contract. And it seems to me that a lot of the costs are just kind of out there. We don't know how much the building inspections are going to be. We don't know if L&I's approved it and for how much. But I also think that there should be some sort, and maybe Tony has it and we just aren't privy to it, but there should be some sort of a spreadsheet that shows income where it's going to come from, expenses where it's going to go. I mean, something basically that every business owner has, and a treasurer's report. Well, we don't ever do treasurer's reports, I guess, so we don't know what's in there. What was in there at the end of 2021 or 2022, and I did go back to the DCED reports. They have 2020 as their last one. They don't have 2021 yet listed in the computer. But in there, there's nothing that says capital expenses, capital reserves, future building. You're not seeing much of what kind of an excess you have left at the end of the year. And I'm concerned that with this building project going from 3 to 4 to 5 to 8, whatever it ends up to be, it's going to be a tax increase on
Yeah, that
That must mean your time's up.
We got that new microphone. Reset the timer on it.
Did,
Okay.
did you get the other one working, or?
that battery was low on that one as well.
Okay. Can you turn, Attorney, can
New
you?
batteries in this bid?
And I brought these for you, by the way.
Oh,
These
okay,
are
great.
Capian, Gordian.
Gordians?
the last one.
Yep. Oh, great, thank you.
Attorney, can you
Well,
make
Connie-
sure that's turned off when you put the battery in, because we could hear it in here when you were.
Connie, you know, you can call any of us anytime or email us any
Well,
questions you ever have.
I had a right to know, all ready to go for Tony, and I
You don't
must
even
have
need a right to know.
deleted
Just
it.
call us and ask us, and most likely we can probably answer your question for you.
Right.
I mean, it's, and coming in
Okay,
here
so-
and not knowing the answer is kind of hard for us if you.
It
ask
is,
us.
and I understand that. I've been on that side, so I know exactly.
Yeah,
I
so
was a
if you could
supervisor,
ask
so
us-
I know that. But it's just that I'm trying to make sure that the public knows that this is going to be a huge expense.
Oh,
It may
trust
or
me.
may not be at the taxpayer's expense.
We are all aware, we do not want to raise taxes for this project.
Right. Now, the other thing is,
And
you
that's
could
why
put it
we
as a
don't
vote
see
or
us-
referendum and do I think it's a 1 mil or a 2 mil under the Title 53, and you can put that on as a special needs tax, which means it comes on just for the building, goes away after the building is done. But you only
Yeah.
have it on there for X amount of years, for X amount of dollars.
Kind of like a hydrant tax.
Yes,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yes, or a streetlight tax. And you could do that for a building. But I think that would be even more economical than saying to people now, you're going to have a 2 mil increase now. People are going to move in here in the next 30 years under this loan, and they're only going to get it as they come in. So those people who are living here from the very beginning are going to be taxed a whole lot longer than the people who are just moving in. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So going to settlement and getting your taxes at that point puts you in there with that 2% or whatever it is, 2 mils just for this purpose. So, but my biggest concern is how much is the bond payment that we're not going to have now? What is the income that we have as spendable cash, so to speak, that we're putting towards this? I know it's a 50 match, but what is the spendable? What is it that we have? And are we trying to use, that amount that we know we have and make the building match that so that we get the 100%? How much did we get in the CARES Act and where is it? How much is in the Pliget account? So those are just the concerns that I have, and I think there are probably answers that Tony has. I'm not sure that any of you have those
Yeah.
figures directly.
Yeah.
And I have them on the right to know that I lost in my computer, so I have to rework that, but those are
Connie,
just
I-
things.
I do have the CARES Act number. I mean, the total when we received a second payment this year, it's going to be $1,666,528.
So there's a quarter of, well, almost.
Well, Connie, if you have any question, you can call we can't get three of us together, but any two of us meet you up here
Right.
and we'll try to.
Right, and I'm happy to meet with any one of you. Like I
Yeah.
said, I've got 30 years' experience in this job.
You know, trust me, we're not trying to hide anything. We're trying to be as
Right.
what we know how to.
Right.
And honestly, we all talk the same way, that we have no intentions of raising taxes for this building.
Well, of course, you hear bits and pieces in the community and things like that, but there are things that, I
That's
have
why
gone
we're
back
trying
and
our
researched.
darnest to get grants as much as we possibly can.
Right, and I've researched a lot of this, and I don't find answers to a lot of the things that people have said to me. But I've got over 30 years' experience in both sides of that table,
So you know what it's
supervisor
like
and manager. So I've been on both sides of that, and I'm just looking at the things that concern me as a citizen that, I'm concerned about, and I think that maybe other citizens should be concerned about too. Where are we getting the money? It's number one, so that we don't have a tax increase in the future.
Well, they're valid concerns. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of concerns, your school taxes, what about our
Oh,
$60 million
absolutely,
building coming up?
absolutely, and there's no way around that, and there's nothing, I mean, I fought that battle for 30 years.
Yeah, it's kinda a hard battle to fight.
It is a hard battle.
Yeah.
I mean, people look at you and say, well, you're collecting taxes. Yeah, we're not the school board, we can't collect like they can.
Yeah.
This is your township, and
They
we're
get
responsible for these
71%
services.
of the taxes that you pay, they get.
They get, right. And we get the short end of the stick. And
Correct,
I
yeah.
understand that totally. That's why I'm just kind of trying to cover all the bases and look, to see what all I've seen.
I can just assure you that we're all here to make sure we do the best we can for
And-
taxes.
just be assured, I mean, we're not putting this building up because we just want the nicest building in the area. I mean, it's
Right.
a genuine need. We're
I understand that.
we're gonna make
But-
it work
I think
And-
somewhere down the road, and this came up maybe 10 years ago in a position that I had when your old chief was here too, and, you know, there will be consolidation of services at some point. There has to be. There's not going to be enough money somewhere down 10, 15, 20 years from now. You're going to have to consolidate. And we tried to get some things on board then to discuss, and it went by the wayside. So I'm saying, are we doing, if this building is elaborate and we're going to do the Taj Mahal, it's going to be outdated in 10 or 12 years when you do something like that.
Trust me, it's not Taj Mahal.
So,
It's not,
I went to Lower Allen's building, that's the
Did you?
Taj Mahal.
yeah, it's pretty
there's
big.
really no frill. It's not, like, we didn't just, I mean, I was involved in a little bit of the design when I first got in. I was mostly design, but it's,
We're looking for function.
yeah.
Well,
exactly.
functionality is the way it has to
Yeah.
be, but you've also got to do long-range planning in the function.
We-
What's going to
we did
happen
that
if
too.
we consolidate? Who's going to go where? Are we going to have enough space then? Because you're not going to want to do this in another 30 years.
Well, we had the chief and Lieutenant Diddy were
You're right,
involved with
they,
the whole
I saw
thing.
they gave a presentation.
So
Yeah.
we have know what their needs are in the future, so we knew.
Yeah, as
what
long
to
as, they
expand.
did do a long-range
Steve,
plan.
we did pretty much with that, didn't we?
We plan on increasing the doors by a few, but not for like consolidation. I can't prepare for that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
I've been through that. You can't compare with that, exactly.
So, Tony, did you provided her with the current building costs? Is that what she has?
No,
I just, last month, she asked about the procurement process and the
Yep.
bidding. And
Bidding.
the Gordian and Keystone Purchasing Network information is what I just gave her.
So there is a line item description for the building.
okay. Is it a set, like, well, I know in other capital reserve projects, you have, okay, new buildings, capital reserve, and then you've got all of the money that's coming in, or what you're earmarking for that, and then all of your expenses. Do we have anything like that that says, and where we are at this point? So you're going to have your total estimated cost, your total projected cost to the end of the contract, and what we've spent to date. Because it looks like we have spent a lot of money that wasn't really mentioned in the very beginning of the minutes. So there's a lot of discrepancy in numbers.
Well, the money that has been spent is all within the current contract. It's not.
But where did that money come from? I mean, we haven't gotten any USDA or any loans or anything. Have we taken it out of Liggett, or
It's
we're
out of
just
gen-
paying it out of the general fund?
General fund, right, Tony?
Yes, if I could just address a few things. The project started with a design contract with Lobar, and that was it's 135,000 and some change.
Yes, I have that.
And that was voted on in an open meeting, and the funds for that are paid out of the general fund because you had to design it before you could even apply for a
Right, I
grant.
understand that.
And we did budget that under contracted services, what was left for this year, which I think was about $50,000 remained. They paid some last year in 2021.
21, right.
We also had budgeted for Pinelli's engineering, their
Right.
agreement for the project was about 80,000, and we had paid some of that in 2021 out of general fund, and then we have it budgeted under contracted services for this year. So that part of it is, and then there's a two-part permit to this with the Conservation District. So Phase 1 permit was for erosion and sediment, Bill, yeah,
No.
and the fill. So when they got that, I know there's a lot of consternation about the word free fill, but we actually did get 1,000 truckloads of fill that nobody charged us for. It did cost, so we had to pay Lobar to
Move it.
spread it, move it, run it. So the board approved, and it's in the minutes of February 22nd of this year, February 22nd, 2022, that they did vote in an open meeting to approve Phase 1 of erosion sediment controls multi-use emergency services building. And then the contract amount, there's more money in the contract than what we had paid. What we had paid so far was for that work. It's been done. And some of the concrete structure and piping sewer.
The sewer, I saw some
Yes.
of that too. But all of that is mixed in with general fund expenditures.
It is at this point. But we do have a 50% match to the grant. So even, and I just want to go back just a little bit. So about to talk about the $8 million and $4 million grant submission. We may get $2 million, not $4 million. We might get $3 million. So I can't speak for the supervisors. I just believe that we shot a little high to see that if we could get enough money to cover what we really want to do. So I'm not speaking on their behalf. Anything that we had spent so far can be considered 50% match, right?
Well, is there a way that we can segregate that out of the general fund and make it separate? So somebody says, what is this building costing us? Okay, here's the deal. We have X amount of dollars in these three things that we're going to use, that we're going to have the revenue from. These are the expenditures to date, and this is what we spent, that we'll get 50% back. And this is what we expect it to cost at the end. The bottom line being the total of the project. So that it's not intermingled with general fund expenditures and general fund revenues and all that sort of thing. I think it would make things a lot easier for a lot of people.
I mean, it's all documented where it's going for the building. I understand what you're saying, but it's not like,
We'll go through the minutes and check off this one, it's for the building. We'll check off this one, might be for the building. Check off this one, yeah. Yeah.
Connie, I explained it to Jane one time. When we changed our ambulance service, we saved $150,000 a year by doing a change there. So that's going to be a benefit going towards paying that building too.
But I also heard that you're going to be charging the EMS for space in this new building.
No.
no, absolutely
Come
not.
to us.
No.
If you hear it, because there's so many stories out there.
There are.
We built the building, they're rent-free, so they do the service for free. Now, before,
Now, they're billing the insurance companies for what they can
Right,
bill. but It's not
absolutely.
costing the
before,
township.
our township, the fire station was doing it, the two Newbury Township residents paid for everything, but Lewisberry, Goldsboro, York Haven, and Warrenton paid nothing.
But isn't
now
this
we're-
ambulance company going around and sending out notices for people to pay or to join or something? I did get something,
Yeah,
yes.
just like what the
And
fire
it's a
company does.
benefit to have a membership, it really is.
Well, yeah, otherwise you pay $1,700. I paid.
Yeah, I
one,
went
so-
to ambulance one
paid it.
time at Disney, it was pretty expensive.
Yeah, they are, they are.
And I just thought of another one of your questions. So I believe it's Commonwealth Code, right, who's doing the building
We have
permit?
two different ones.
That's correct.
Well, that's
So
what
they're
I'm s-
doing the inspections.
But they're never mentioned in your minutes. They've never been approved as one of your inspectors. You have no inspectors right now if somebody was to say, who's your inspector? There's nothing listed in
Well, I
your
don't
minutes.
know that we have a.
Well, it should
an
be in
ins-
there
we
when you
don't have an ins-
appoint people
I
at the
mean,
beginning of the year.
Commonwealth is our inspection agency. I don't know that we have an assigned building inspector at this point.
No, but you should be saying that it's Commonwealth. It's not in the minutes anywhere. I mean, and they're appointed at the beginning of the year at reorganization, just as your employees are. And it should say that if you are residential or commercial, if you're separating it out and saying, okay, Commonwealth's doing industrial and business, and so is doing residential, but at this point, there is nothing that says who it is. And did you opt in or opt out of labor and industry to review your industrial and commercial? That's never mentioned either in the last 2 years.
Well, that was my first meeting,
Yeah.
January 3rd.
Yeah, and last year was the same way.
Yeah, I
So-
never even came across
But-
that during the meeting,
Yeah.
so.
Labor
we have
and,
two different
labor
ones.
and
We don't have
industry are
one
going to
yet,
have to
too.
do an inspection of this building. It's a public building. so-
Well, and typically what they
Yeah.
do is review the plans. I mean, they review everything, they come back and they tell you, I mean, the normal sequence in most municipalities is they review the plans and they tell you, yes, no, maybe, could be.
Well, I think
But-
maybe Lobar has some people that come and do that, I don't know.
Well, are they labor, that's the
They
point.
might have that already.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Who is handling that and who is doing the inspection?
think
Is that part
Lobar
of
would-
Lobar's job
It-
or is it part of the township's
We
job?
can find it out for you.
Because you're also gonna need a use and occupancy permit before you can use the building. I mean, legally, you need that.
Well, I believe Marcus issues the occupancy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that can't be done until
Commonwealth-
you're all done with the inspections and everything
yeah,
is,
Well, that's the way it's done currently for residential also. I mean, Commonwealth does the inspect, or Commonwealth or Arrow?
Yeah.
do the inspections and the permits.
Yeah, I'm sure the low bar would not let this building go by without being inspected and,
Point is, it's not in the minutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, well, we
Well,
can,
know what I
okay,
mean?
all right, so
You
we'll,
have something to say.
It will be Commonwealth code. They're the ones that do all the commercial and
yeah.
who, it'd be
industrial and,
Commonwealth,
yeah.
Bill.
But they currently do, them and Ara do all the inspections, they do the inspection reports, and when there's a final inspection issued, they'll
Do you
issue-
get inspection reports every month of what they inspected?
I'm sure you do, don't you, Marcus? So once he gets the final
Before the use
inspection.
and occupancy, you get a list that says, these inspections were performed and they've all passed and they're ready for a use and occupancy. Okay, that's all I have for now.
thank
All
you,
right.
honey.
Be back.
Thank you. Thanks for the warning.
Hey, you know our number, right?
Okay, next, we have Justin, I can't read the last name. I believe it's Justin.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the agenda, I thought it was just a, sign-in.
Oh, okay, all right. So I think that's it for public comment. Or-
Brian Rabine, 928 Pleasant Drive. I've heard this comment several times, and I just want to clarify, I want the board to clarify it, that with this new building, EMS is not going to charge the township. Correct.
With our current contract, no.
For the current contract. So just be clear, and the residents know, that if you call the ambulance out, you're still going to get charged, the residents can get charged. It's their service they're providing to the township is what, township is not going to get charged. But the residents are still going to get charged.
Correct, if they're not a member, yes.
That's not changed.
I understand
correct.
that, but I just want to make sure that it doesn't come back on you guys later that you said it was free, because that's not
It's free for the township, not the residents.
correct. I just wanted to have that clarified, that later on in the meeting.
Well, that's a good thing to bring up,
When they
actually.
come back in the minutes and say, you guys said it was free, you said it was free. It's free to the township, it's not free to a call out to a house or a business, something like that.
And Gary, that's how you guys did it too. Membership was a different price than,
That's all I had.
Hi, sir, I want to tag on what you said. So there's a little difference here, okay? With your new service provider, there's memberships out there that you could obtain. You're still going to be responsible for what the membership didn't pay. That's different than before. You only paid your membership fee, we accepted what your insurance paid. Now it's not the case. If your insurance company pays $500 and the bill's $1,500, even though you got the membership, you're going to pay the remaining $1,000. Okay, that was a change in the process. So I just wanted to clarify that.
confused. Say it again?
It gives you a little reduction in it, but you're still going to be responsible for me. Read your subscription.
Thank you, Gary.
All right.
I have two public comments I need to read.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
That's okay. So I have Joe Shoemaker of 1840 Potts Hill Road, Edwards, Pennsylvania. She called and then emailed. She's unable to make it tonight. She said, "My husband and I live at 1840 Potts Hill Road. Speed limit is 40 miles per hour close to our home. However, there's a steep grade just prior to the signage and cars pick up speed coming down the hill. Our driveway is directly off this road. Cars are picking up speed just before the area where we turn into our driveway. Also, as the road curves in this area, they do not always see us turning or when we are trying to access the rural route mailbox. I have had 2 knee replacements, so crossing streets is dangerous for me. Lastly, this is an area where students are boarding buses and being dropped off in the afternoon. Can you bring this to the attention of the board in hopes that the Township Roads Department can initiate a speed study and hopefully reduce the speed limit to 35? I was also wondering if a hidden driveway sign might help.
What was that address, Tony? Or the area?
1840 Potts Hill Road.
I think the rate is close to the bottom,
Down by Ramblewood,
closer to you. What bottom is
okay.
So she just wanted consideration of, I mean, to get the speed limit reduced, it is a state road. if I'm not mistaken. And that would have to go to PennDOT to request them to do the traffic study to reduce the speed limit. And if you want to put signs on it, we would have to do the same thing. We'd have to request PennDOT, we have to determine where we want to put the signs and what signs we want to put up. And that would be up to the board.
I'll look at that on the way home. I live right above there. Just so I know what I'm looking at.
The next comment, have a resident, Katrina Hockenbrock, I hope I said your name right, who's here, but I offered to speak on her behalf, 975 River Road, York Haven. They had come into the township the other day, and she has a child that has some unique special needs and is still mobile, and so the concern is on River Road, some trucks and some traffic, and then sometimes speed, and would wanted and requested a consideration to put some signs up in both directions prior to their property, notifying drivers of the special needs child and to slow down, if I have that right. And so I in the meantime, contacted engineer Bill Rudy. We're trying to determine what PennDOT approved signs are available for this type of situation. And so I wanted to bring it to your attention tonight. They are here. If they want to speak, they can. And I proposed it. Bill and I work together, and at next meeting, we come back with what you can do, and then you can make a decision at that time as far as placing signs.
So that's a state road also?
I don't think that's a state road.
Okay. Well, you were just looking for PennDOT approved signs. You mentioned PennDOT approved signs. That's just standard.
The signs have to be a PennDOT approved sign. Like, you just can't make up signs, is what I'm saying.
Which,
So
there's two river roads. Which one is it?
it,
It's by LKQ? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Has a little steep grade going to the top of it? Okay.
Do you see a lot of speeding? Like
What's the listed speed limit?
She said there's none.
There is no speed limit sign on that entire road.
Well, maybe that should be one of our.
Didn't you do a traffic study there before?
I don't recall. Yeah, we did the other section of River.
What is a speed study?
Section of the river road that actually McAdams is maintained by you guys. And then the other end of River Road before it goes out through, that's just all stone.
From Grandview to the old trail.
Yeah, exactly, thank you.
So what's a traffic study cost there?
What-
What we need?
I mean, the other thing we could do is, we could stick the speed board out there just to see what we are seeing as far as speeding problem, if there is one. That could be the first step. I know we've done that in the past in other places.
But they're requesting a sign for the special needs child,
Yes.
correct?
He fought off two different assemble anyway, 5.5 years ago. He lost part of one side of his brain and a little bit of the other side. He is totally mobile, is learning to speak again, but cognitively, he is only anywhere between 2 and 3 according to the neurological studies that have been done with him. So he doesn't have the cognitiveness to understand, you do not run out on the road. You do not, and we are working with that too, and basically trying to do overstate. But I know I've seen signs in other places that say, slow deaf child, slow, blind child, things like that. And we did see that there are many different kinds of signs that they make for children like him that are special needs, but don't have that blindness or that fact.
Yeah, the state put one up for us down here in front of our house.
Right, so
Not many people look at it, but it's there.
So you'll work on that sign, but as far as the speed limit sign, do we have to do a speed study to put a speed limit sign up?
Yeah, we have to, and do an ordinance.
If there's not a speed limit sign, Steve, is there not a speed limit sign there? Can he go any as fast as he want? No? Okay. You're supposed to read that when you took your license.
Okay, so we need a speed limit. We need a
I'm not-
speed.
Sometimes there's a perception that there is speeding, then maybe there's not. So that's why I'm saying maybe the first step might be to put the speed board out there
Okay.
and just see.
Steve, can you do that with the speed board?
I would actually suggest that we place our speed timing lights out there. We purchased one at the direction of the board last year, which is the same one that PennDOT uses to do their speed studies. I would suggest put that out there for other than the speed board. It's a box that
It doesn't record, it doesn't show your speed limit, it just records it.
does not flash the speed limit, it records it.
Okay.
Not only that, it
perfect.
records how many active vehicles, two axle, three, four axle, six axle.
Yeah, because when you have, when it flashes up your speed limit, most people slow down, so it doesn't really get accurate reading.
That's what we'd put out anyway, so that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it runs off, the speed board runs off radar, which we're not allowed to use, but if it flashes your speed, it's already taken action and recorded. Well, the other one does not flash the speed, it's just a box.
Is there a certain direction it's worse?
No.
Okay.
And that's the good thing about the other, the other thing, it actually captures both.
Both directions? Oh, perfect, okay.
All right.
Speed board only captures one.
All right, so you'll handle that then?
No, that doesn't matter. We probably would prefer not to rent in the house because then you might get your neighbors really mad.
So we should have some information for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Well, I wanted to bring something up. I don't know if it's, a cousin of mine lives on Redstone Drive, and his neighbor sent me a picture of an inlet box that is deteriorated, and they have a handicapped child. I don't know if you could just take a look at that and see if it's,
I know there's one there that's getting bad, so we gotta do, it's gonna be a lot more. So we might have to take that whole site down. That's what we do.
I think I know which one you're talking about, because I looked at that house. Yeah, is that where there's a stream coming down through the yard? Yeah, it is, that is,
And they have a pipe through the yard.
yeah, yeah, that box is bad. Okay, yeah,
You know, you do have to talk in that a little bit too, so.
Okay, so in my nervousness coming up here, I wanted to make sure that I publicly corrected my statement, okay, in relationship to the EMS building. I got back there and realized what I said. So you pay for the subscription, and then your deductible, you're still responsible for your deductible, whether that's a $200 or a $500
Oh,
deductible.
thank you, Gary.
I
That
was-
sounds a lot better. You had me kind of sweating.
I know. I sat down with the chief and I'm like, I misspoke. And then I wanted to get.
all right.
Yeah, that sounds a lot
Thank
better.
you. Okay, that, if there's no more public comment, we'll move to approval of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minute?
Is there, was it, okay.
And I'll
Must-
second that motion.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Land development and subdivision plan review.
So it's a Southern Crossing Sewer EDU transfer agreement.
Put that where everybody can see it, but we were here probably, we were here twice for a sketch plan on this project. It's the townhomes off of Beinauer Road, close to the corner of York Road and Beinauer at the old Hoffman property. Well, the existing Hoffman property. So
So you're, just so you're Terry Dello, correct?
that's funny.
Okay.
Now, I'm Justin Kuhn. So Terry is the PM on the project. I'm
Okay.
filling in for her tonight.
Okay.
So, yeah, sorry for the confusion.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. So we're here tonight just to discuss a sewer EDU transfer agreement. Land development plans are in with Bill. They're reviewing them. We're addressing comments and so forth. But it's a unique location of the property. It's, you guys are all familiar with Red Mill with Landmark. We are the property just next to Red Mill. About half of the property's in Fairview and the other half's in Newberry, but it has no road access in Newberry. So everything goes out to Beinauer and Cameron in Fairview Township. So it's kind of a little pocket of land that when the sewer was extended for Red Mill, I don't think this property was considered. There's no stubs or anything left on Red Mill. It's quite a distance to get to, actually. You guys recall, they're running a sewer line across York Road down in this vicinity. It comes up in through their development. This is all floodplain wetlands. I mean, it's massive that comes down through here. Could you feasibly, or could you actually connect? Yes. We'd be going through several hundred yards of wetlands, 2 streams, not a very difficult, or not a very easy place to connect. Also, we're crossing streams. We're not 100% sure if we can get in via gravity. We also looked at another option of going between 2 apartment buildings, which would definitely require a pump station on our property to get into the system. And unfortunately, Landmark has not, we've requested, has not given us any sort of permission for an easement to come through their property. So one of the things we had looked at early on is PA American Water has capacity in their pump station on Beinauer Road to take all the sewer, and they would be providing the water for the site as well. We're doing an extension down from, I believe that's Clover Street, cul-de-sac.
That goes to Fairview?
Yes. Yeah, PA American bought Fairview's sewer system. So they've indicated that they can take it, but obviously we would need township action to do that. I talked to Bill. There was an EDU transfer agreement that was done quite some time ago for another project. So we took and kind of changed the wording and stuff, to us and so forth. It's written for up to 115 EDUs. It's going to be somewhere between 100 and 109, somewhere in that neighborhood, that we would be proposing to send down to the Beinauer pump station. And we had kept the same, on the last agreement, they had paid 500 an EDU to transfer. So we were proposing the same thing, so it's somewhere going between probably around $55,000 credit to the township at plan recording, if the township were to agree to the EDU transfer agreement. And I'm going to flip this board over quick because I got Red Mill on the backside. Just to give you guys an idea of what they're doing. They're bringing sewer, I misspoke when I said, it's actually Red Mill that they're coming across. So they're coming across down here low and then coming up their main drive. Our site literally sits up in here. And you can see on their plan, all this purple area here, this is all wetlands and this is the stormwater basin. Well, I say technically, could you get to the system? You could.
That whole thing could left against that creek all that.
The whole thing, and it's all floodplain as well. Their system, most of it is built outside the floodplain, right out to the edge. So you could technically do it. It would be difficult and it'd probably require, it would be going to DEP and the Army Corps for permits. But the other thing is, I think if we went that route, we're probably going to need some assistance from the township because we're not getting anywhere in terms of getting any kind of easement to to connect into that sewer system. I'm not saying that they wouldn't, it's just we've made some requests and we have not.
You're going through York County? Is that who you're going through?
No, Landmark.
Oh, Landmark.
Who, that's their property.
Oh.
Now, there's an easement on, just the piece that they're bringing over, but there was no easement ever granted up to the property line for that system to be extended. So that's what we've requested. We have not received anything favorable back to
As long as
date.
you stay on the right-hand side of the creek, you're okay. More or less.
You mean over here?
Yeah, if you take the pipe on the right-hand side of the creek, you don't have to hit no wetlands.
Well, that's correct. If you could fit in between here, now they do have drainage easements and stuff for their pond. So,
So
like
you
I
have,
said,
you have an alternate plan to go a different direction, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. So what I was
Okay.
getting at, and it's actually on the plan that we submitted to the
Okay.
township. We can, by gravity, take all these units back here and run it down the proposed street into the Fairview side and into the pump station. It's all gravity.
Yeah, there's a pump station right there, right?
Oh, yeah, right here on
Yeah.
Bynauer. It's PA American
It's
owns
right
it
there.
now.
It's a pump station.
Yeah, okay.
So we can, now that requires action by Newberry to allow us to connect, and then PA American with that action would take that to the Utility Commission. It's about a 6-month process, and they would get that service area transferred into their name, so to speak.
So James, does he need a vote from us to do this, or what's he need?
For him to proceed, yes, you would need to vote on that.
So that's what we were here
Okay.
presenting tonight. And
Bill, do you have any comment?
Let's see, is this the one? Yeah, so I guess what's a little unique about this one is he's trying to look for direction because, the two different designs are quite different and, we're not looking for, obviously, he's not looking for approval of any kind of plans tonight. It's just how he's going to handle the sewer for the site. That's really all it's about.
Is all the buildings you're doing on Newbury Township?
no, it's about 50-50.
Oh, it's, okay.
It's about, yes. And we're a little farther ahead at Fairview. We're close to conditional approval over there. We started at Fairview because all the connection points were there, and now we've, the plan's in. Bill has seen it. It
Yeah,
hasn't
as
been
he-
in front of you
and
yet.
you
As you
have the-
mentioned, it's
you
been
have the agreement?
submitted. Yeah, the agreement, I think have you had to look at the agreement yet? The EDU transfer agreement?
We did, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But I guess I was just going to say where the plan's at currently, they did submit it into us. It's been through a development committee meeting. We've provided them comments. It has not been to the planning commission yet at this point, or, then after
Where's-
it's through the planning commission, it'll come
Where's
to
the
you.
elementary school being built?
That's up in here.
Can you tap into that? Is there any way you can?
Well,
How close
That's
you
up.
are?
that's-
I mean, that would also be Fairview. I mean, it
Yeah.
would still be the same
Yeah, we'd be in
process.
Fairview Township
Yeah.
either way.
We've done it before. I myself don't have an issue with it.
So we need to approve this agreement.
I would,
The
is it
EDU
some type of
agreement.
conditional approval based on, if the plans get approved, that
It would be a conditional approval, yeah, absolutely, because you're still early on in the process.
I have to provide something in writing to PA American for them to start the process. So whether that's this signed or what it is, but they're not going to accept the verbal from me that the township acted to. They need something that they can take to the PUC to actually, I don't want to call it make application, but whatever it is. Maybe you know more about that.
I understand what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a vote on the record? Is that enough for them to?
Well, I guess if there's
Go off of,
if there's
or-
a vote on the record, would that allow this to be executed? Because this is all executed based on the plans being approved. And then this thing would remain in effect for 18 months after, and then it would dissolve.
I don't have a problem with a vote on the record, then we'll do a follow-up letter
Okay,
detailing the conditions
okay,
of what that agreement is. We could send that out, myself or Bill.
yeah.
If the supervisors so want to do that. I mean, I believe we've done that in.
I think if I have some kind of correspondence, that'll allow them to go to the PUC.
So you have an agreement in hand?
We have a templated agreement that came across, a suggested agreement from them, yes.
Not that you're ready to accept it, it was the same agreement that was
Okay.
used before, and we just updated
We
it.
reviewed the prior agreement to see if that would be acceptable for them to submit to the township. That's what we reviewed so far.
Well, knowing the area he wants to go through down towards Newbury Township, walking that when I was a kid, I know what he's talking about. It's gonna be a act of Congress to get that done down through there, across the wetlands.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we're gonna hold him up if we don't.
no, I'm in agreement
Yeah.
to do it. I'm just trying to think of how we need to do it.
Yeah.
That's all.
So the process is gonna be, you're gonna vote to proceed with him doing the plan. That's gonna give him the ability to give that to PA American Water. They're looking for something that the township's supportive of his process here. We'll write a letter saying, yes, this is what we agreed to, conditioned upon whatever Bill puts on as conditions and you agree to. And then we'll draft the actual EDU transfer agreement as we proceed forward and we get further approval from them. Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, I understand all that, but are we approving something here tonight? How do I word this, is what I want to know.
So a motion needs to be made to approve the exploration of a transfer, EDU transfer agreement for
Southern Crossings.
Southern Crossing plan development, to allow for Fairview Township to take over. It is a mouthful. You're approving Southern Crossing's EDU transfer to Fairview Township.
Actually, to PA American.
PA American.
They no longer own the system. Yep.
Sorry, I'm going off the fly here too, so.
So I'm looking for a motion. I'm looking for a motion to approve the Southern Crossings EDU
Transfer
candidate
proposal.
transfer proposal
To PA American. Water.
from Newbury Township to PA American.
I'll make that motion as stated.
I was second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a struggle.
Robbie, you were a yes on that, right?
Yes, I was yes, yes. Okay, so that brings us into reports. Chief, you have a public safety report?
Evening, board, evening, residents. So for the month of July, our department handled 1,045 calls. Listing those by criteria, we had 2 aggravated assaults, 3 burglaries, 5 thefts, 3 drug offenses, 8 DUIs, 2 simple assaults, 3 domestic-related harassments, 5 other harassments, and 10 all other offenses. Additionally, they responded to investigated 1,004 calls, including 10 domestic-related incidents, 23 traffic accidents. They issued 52 traffic citations, 145 warnings, 4 non-traffic citations, and made 30 misdemeanor and/or felony criminal arrests. The only thing I have in addition to my report is I want to thank the community as well as the township for National Night Out. We had a large turnout. Everyone within the township pitched in to help set up and tear down. And a special thanks to the planning committee, of National Night Planning Committee, for putting everything in place. The last thing that I have on the police side is we are not having a golf tournament this year. However, we just solidified our cornhole tournament for November 5th, and that will be at the Valley Run Farm, which is off of Yoakum Town Road, and we will provide more details on our Facebook as they're released. As far as the public safety report, just I wanted to make the community aware that underneath our EMA, PEMA sent a letter to the township giving Christopher Fetters, our new EMA coordinator, an endorsement to serve as the EMA coordinator. Basically, that letter, that endorsement is sent to the governor, and the governor has to approve it. So it's a huge step in the right direction. So congratulations to him. As far as the fire departments, York Haven Fire Department wanted to let us know that the drawing for the grill, I guess they're raffling off a grill, that will be this weekend. They have a sub sale coming up in September.
Goldsboro Fire Department, bingo will start back up at the end of September, and they are also having a sub sale. You need to order your subs by September 23rd. Believe he said you need to contact Bridget if you want to buy these subs. And Newberry, bingo is September 2nd as well as September 17th. They were having a chicken barbecue on September 17th and a boot drive this weekend. That's all I have. Just want a little clarification that you want me to set that speed capturing device up at that address on River Road. Is that correct?
Correct.
It'll capture both sides. That one. Right, gotcha. Do you have any other questions for me?
I just want to say thank you for all your efforts in the National Night Out. It was very nice. People enjoyed themselves, and you guys did a lot of work.
The
Thank
dean
you.
set up a meeting too to have it was Laura's idea to set up a meeting afterwards so we can correct any problems we had and improve. what
One
we
of the things
had.
we have to figure out
Yeah.
a better way to do is our
The
raffle.
problem you have, you start discussing it the next year and
Then you lose
March
it.
or, yeah, you kind of keep doing the same thing over and over again, which, when is the meeting? It's coming up here, 31st, I think it is. We're having a meeting for,
It's at the end of the.
yeah,
in a week
go
or
over
two.
all the pros
Believe
and
so.
cons and
Yeah,
make it better yet, so.
absolutely.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Did any of the chiefs have anything to add? Okay, solicitor?
Copy of my report is available for you. No further report.
Bill?
I have nothing to add to my report. It should have been at your seat tonight. It was not in the packet, but it should have been.
I haven't, yeah.
I was on vacation last week. I apologize for that.
You have anything, Scott? Marcus? Zoning? Sewer? Manager?
Just real quick, I have two quickie things. Last month, we had a resident ask for traffic study on Connolly Drive. We just got that back, and it just forwarded it to you. I just got it. And so the board has a traffic study about Connolly Lane and Yoakumtown Road. And there was a request last month about sewer bills going, instead of postcards onto that. I just signed the agreement with Diversified today. So starting with the next billing cycle, October, they will be full page size and in an envelope and mailed, first-class mail. So, and then Laura and I both looked at it, and we picked out a good design, and there'll still be a coupon at the bottom, but they can tear off. That's all.
Thanks for following up on that. Treasurer? Any of the supervisors?
I was approached from the VFW about putting some signage up on Pine Road and getting off the highway there to direct people to VFW. I think it's something we should address with the VFW to help them pursue that, you know what I mean, as easy as possible without, too much headache with it. But I'm thinking you want it Pines Road and Old Turk Road, correct? A sign? Yes.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is David Lash. I'm with the VFW here in Edders. First of all, everybody thinks the VFW is just a place to drink. That's not true.
You sure?
I don't drink much. I don't drink. But seriously. But the VFW does a lot of things for the community. First of all, we take care of our veterans first. I have been a member of the VFW for over almost 30 years. Changed my membership from New Cumberland up here to Edders, and now I'm an officer in the VFW. And went to my very first meeting, and we started talking about donating money for this person who needs it, this person who needs it, and also for the community. We just helped they weren't a Little League team, they were minor Little League teams that went down to Florida for their for the World Series.
How'd they do down there?
They didn't do, they lost. But they did, they did win, I think, 1 or 2 games, and they choked. But the thing is, we take care of our community as well as our veterans. And right now, if you go up York Haven Road and at Pines Road, you see a small sign there, and if you look one way, you can barely read VFW this way. What we are proposing is, I actually have 2 different type of proposals. I would like to kind of get a committee together and do a survey or a study. One would be for the VFW to have a sign that would be telling of different events that's happening for the community. We have a diabetes walk coming up. We're also doing a cleanup here in next month on Pines Road. We had several different other opportunities that we have for the community. And, we ask for volunteers to help, and we're all the time looking for new members, whether they're social members or they're actually VFW members at all. But once you go to one of our meetings, you actually understand what we actually do and how much money we actually take out of our one fund to pay for other things too. We have people that can't pay their car payments. We've taken care of that. We had a family down in Goldsboro that had a fire, and they've been they had to be out of their residence for a number of months, and we've actually paid for their motel rooms for a while. So it's just not for the VFW, but it's for the community. Now, what we're talking about is 2 different things. Number one is I'd like to have some kind of a sign just for the VFW, let them know what our events are. But the other idea we actually had too was to have a community sign made up, not just for the VFW, but for the community, announcing our different meetings that you have here on Tuesday evenings. That way you may get a better response. Not a lot of people look on the cable and watch it, what's going on. If you look on the cable, most of it is up in Duncannon and Marysville, but hardly anything here in the Newberrytown area. When we've called and said, hey, we have an event going on, by the time that they post it, it's already over with. Exactly. So my proposal is right now we're taking baby steps. I've talked to Mr. Brandt and got some ideas. I've gotten some permission from one of our residents that we could put a sign on his property. Again, we have to meet regulations from the township as well as probably from the state.
Yeah, state, yeah, for sure.
So this is why I came to the meeting tonight, is to kind of like throw this out to you as the community, that we're looking for some kind of assistance, some kind of a word to help out, our VFW as well as our community. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you. Okay, well, if nothing else on the reports, we got old business. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to mention a couple of things that have transpired this past month. Update on the Strategic Fire Department meeting. Our next one is September 14th at 6 o'clock. Is going to be held in this facility. So all those folks who are interested and want to participate, we'd love to have you. The other thing is that we're currently doing, as a township, we're currently doing a Newberry contest. We're trying to create a berry, as York has the white rose, and Dillsburg has the pickle, and Harrisburg has the red rose. We're trying to do a berry for our community. So we're looking for any artist out there at any age to submit their idea of a berry that we can use from here on forever and ever. We'd love to hear from you. The other thing is, I just had an opportunity to meet with an HOA group of residents down at Lexington Heights. We had 15 out of 18 residents at that meeting. It was a great time for me to get to meet our folks and kind of share with them some of the questions and give them some answers that I was able to offer that they had about what we're doing here. So we welcome anybody who wants to, in the future, invite any of us to any HOA meetings or any other events. We'd love to come and be a part of that. So please ask us. And lastly, we have been trying and talking about the West Shore Rec Center. I've been reaching out to folks to let us know if you want to participate in this rec center again. The cost is fairly high. It's $45,000 an annual fee. And the fact that we have minimal folks who have participated in the past makes us stop and question, should we spend that money when there's very few of us that use it? So I'm asking for people who are out there to please let us know, so we have your input before we move forward as a yes or a no. Our budget's coming to ahead, so we have to get a decision back to the West Shore Rec Center very soon.
Thank you for all your work. Maxine, do you have anything?
Not at this time. I do want to talk to Marcus about, I'll get him later.
Rob, do you have anything?
I don't have anything. Okay, now, moving on to old business. So I'm looking for a motion to approve ordinance 419 banknote capital debt of $4 million. James, can you give some insight on this?
I'm sorry, you want an overview of what this ordinance?
Just an overview, yes, so the public knows what.
Jens, do you want to, I mean, you drafted the ordinance, so I'm more than happy to defer to the author.
Okay.
I promise to be brief. Well, we've talked about the steps needed to borrow money, and you did authorize through your financial advisor getting proposals, and I know you have a report from them that shows what the results of their some bids that they received from these various lenders. And that is what's approved in this ordinance. The terms of the loan proposal from Webster Public Finance Corporation. They were the winner. So the process is an ordinance under the state law known as the Local Government Unit Debt Act. This ordinance is designed to satisfy that law. And it accepts the proposal as recommended by your financial advisor. And it summarizes the terms, including a schedule for what that interest rate is. And this loan is called a general obligation note, meaning it's the full faith, credit, and taxing power of the township. That's the collateral for the loan, no mortgage or anything like that. It's just the township's good credit and ability to make these payments from its general fund. So this ordinance is all that's needed to, again, accept that loan proposal, authorize the loan, and close that loan, including the documents that need to be signed. That process, I think, is set for September 19th closing, for which time this money would then be, all of it would be then deposited into an account, and it can be then invested until the bids are over, well, till the process proceeds.
Yeah, and if I recall, we have to have this in place prior for the RACP grant. We have to have this ready to go. Is that correct?
Right, for them to match.
That's correct. You have to have the funds in hand for the match on the RACP. The RACP is in process of, in the approval process right now, so this is sitting there ready in the waiting.
So we have to close on this before we get a grant.
Well, again, I'm based on what your grant advisor has instructed, that you need to have this funding in place. Now, the way these loans work, you can't just get a commitment and it just sits indefinitely. Once they commit to an interest rate, they want to close. So just like if you went to the mortgage, you got an interest rate quote. So you are locking in this loan. This loan is being issued. And the money's going to be in deposit. So of all the variables you've got, one of the big ones is cost of funds, your interest rate. You're eliminating that, at least for the 4 million. Now it's, I guess, these other variables, the grant part, and I guess the construction costs to some degree, then what those final numbers are. So you're pecking away at the unknowns.
As far as prepayment goes, there was something you said that money could be put in escrow or something, and if you were prepaying early.
Yeah, you can see in the ordinance, I mean, we call it an emergency services building, okay? And that's what we all have in mind. If down the road, you get big grant, more grant, money left over, the law allows you to amend this ordinance to add a new project. So, is that what your question?
Well, as far as the loan goes, there's no prepayment penalty on the. I
If
thought
you
there
get a
was a
grant,
time
it pays it
period,
off
a time
completely.
period.
There is a time period, and that money could be, if you have leftover funds, could be set in an escrow until that prepayment date.
That's what I was remembering. Okay.
There's no penalty.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So you would put that money in an escrow, it would earn interest right now, and then at the prepayment date, then it would kind of take out.
But there was a time frame where you had to keep it for, what was it, a year or 6?
It might have been 2 years, I gotta double check. Right, okay, this was a 5 year.
When does the payment start?
Payments start on.
January of 2023.
Yep, January 23.
I can just give a little, I mean, the payment structure is 2 payments a year, and every January it is interest payment, and then July 15th is interest and principal to coincide with when we would get more of our tax revenues. And the payment is, over the term, it averages about $279,000 annually.
There's a schedule. But it is fixed interest rate. So you know exactly what those payments are. Yes, I mean, July 15, 2027 is when the loan will be eliminated. But between that time, yes, you deal with it by escrowing the money and locking in what you can in terms of.
Okay. All right. All right. Do you want to come to the microphone?
44,000.
What are we paying July 15th of 2023?
44,000.
Where are we getting that from?
Yeah, one project cost is interest on the loan until you get the project's constructed. Now, you're not relying on revenues for this project, not like we gotta build a sewer system, so you have the money coming in. So you could pay it from your general fund if you chose. Or what we call capitalized interest is when you pay the loan from the borrowed money itself. But that would obviously take money away from bricks and mortar. But it is an eligible cost. Plus, you've got interest earnings also. Chip away.
Yeah, if we put that money into our account, do we draw interest from that money?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like right now, there are some local government accounts that are earning liquid overnight rates of 2.25%, somewhere around there. And if you lock that money up into CDs for a little bit longer duration, you could probably be closer to 3% interest earnings. It's a lot better than what it was 2 years ago, much better. But I think it'd be important to shop around a little bit to see, because there's pretty wide disparity between interest earnings that we're seeing from different banks.
Okay.
Connie or Jane, you have anything else?
Any other further questions?
And then out of the $4 million for the loan, you gotta pay the fee to them, which was 12%? What was?
12%? No. What we're showing in the handout that's up on the table, that the net deposit to the construction fund at closing would be $3,943,000. Correct. For the various fees. Yeah. And that would be financial advisor, bond counsel, solicitor, bank fee.
It's on page 5.
That's on page 5 of the handout.
And that was, your fee was, like, the loan you shopped us saved us, I forget what it was, in excess of $100,000 in interest, what we were going to get.
Well in excess of that. Oh, yeah.
Jane, would you like to have this?
Yeah, yeah.
We have one? Okay.
Yeah, they're right here.
Oh, copies, I'm sorry, I didn't have
Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard, but his fee is all set by, they saved us well over that, over what we were gonna. Yeah. Any further comments or questions? Then I'll make,
The only motion we need is to enact ordinance number 419.
yeah, I was waiting for them to.
I thought you had already made a motion.
He
To
asked for a
approve.
motion.
He asked for a motion, I don't know if he did.
We just went into conversation.
Ah, okay. So I already made the motion, you're saying?
Well, you asked for the motion, somebody has to make the motion, second it, then we go into any further comments or questions, and then you ask for a vote.
To start the process, I'll make a motion that we enact ordinance number 419.
I'll second that.
Mr. Chairman, to just remind you, this particular ordinance requires a line vote, that I must record each supervisor's vote. So if you call them by name, I can record it.
Okay. Chairman Winnemar, or Supervisor Winnemar?
Yes.
Myself. Vice Chair Harkins, yes.
Maxine Kaufman, yes.
Diane Schellenhammer, yes.
And motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Second item under old business is ordinance 420 fire prevention, chapter 214E, E code again.
Do we have some notes on that or anything, what that is?
James, you want to handle this one?
I can handle
You're
this
gonna
one.
shovel this off on someone else.
No. Hey. That's what lawyers do, they defer risk. So this is the Knox box ordinance that we're talking about here. We revised we rolled it into a fire code ordinance and just refreshed your fire code per standards. We worked with the local fire departments and with the chief to make sure that what was being offered is up to current standard. But the Knox box is the addition to this.
Do we all know what the Knox box does?
I mean, I do, it's the fire,
Yeah, they go to your
Police
business
and-
and it's on fire, they have a box they can get into, you get a key or a code to get into the building without knocking doors down or windows down. That thing's for commercial, correct?
It is for commercial, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yes. Commercial and industrial, yeah.
are there any questions or just, of,
I know last meeting we discussed, about fire prevention, and talking about having numbers on homes that have to be identified. Is that in this ordinance 420?
I will have to circle back on, it should be, but I don't remember it off the top of my head whether that's on there
I
or
know
not.
it was up for discussion, that they tabled it, and then they were gonna come back. They were gonna discuss more and then bring it back.
I'm not sure whether it's in this specific ordinance or not, so I will confirm that, but that's correct.
I know most places have curbs, they paint your numbers on the curbs. either way, I think it's a good idea, some kind of marker at your house. Something of the sort, yeah.
I just know that the fire department was doing they did them for many years,
Yeah.
from there, so that was a bit, if you're making an ordinance in there, are they gonna be off of that?
Can you ask that question real quick, and for the minutes and everything else, in there, and thank you.
I'm asking the question for the ordinance 420 fire prevention. If that's in that ordinance, is it that the houses have to be numbered? And if it has to be numbered and that's in there, or is the township going to offer the signs that you could purchase through them or the fire department as previously?
I can address that. The ordinance, section 214-23, numbering of buildings, the street building number assigned by the township in accordance with the regulations of the United States Postal Service to building structures and premises in the township shall be numbered in accordance with Chapter 272 of the code. I can't tell you what 272 of the code is, but
So the answer is yes, it is in this ordinance, or it's?
That's correct. Yeah.
it sounds like
We
it is.
just need to
yeah.
make it clear for the residents that don't have it numbered. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't have your house numbered, but
Well, the question,
It needs
you
to be
still
up
have a
there.
question.
it's for the fire department, or who's going to offer the signage.
Offer that to anybody, Gary, guys?
You probably better come up to the microphone.
Good evening. Mark Sanders. I don't know if you need it more. Each fire company should have signs. We sell them as a fundraiser. Gary's station has blue ones, and we have green. They're vertical or horizontal. So we will make them to whatever your house number is. It's like $25 a sign.
Does Goldsboro have it too? Does Goldsboro have theirs too?
I don't believe Goldsboro does it now. We can get them to do it.
Yeah, we can't require them since they're not Newbury Township, so. But your cave is willing to do it too?
Susquehanna and Newberry do it, yes.
Those are typically referred to as 911 signs, if I'm not correct.
That is correct.
So I do not know for sure, but I don't think that's what is mandated by the Postal Service, but those are what the fire departments sell, and I have one, and you put that on there, it's reflective, it has engineering grade reflectivity, and that you put on your mailbox or somewhere and on your house, and when they come up on a 911 call, it's reflective and they can see it instead of some faded out brass numbers, so.
Do we have a price on what it costs? Give the public?
A sign, one sign, are you at 20 or $25? Yeah, one sign is $25. It's not a U.S. Postal approved. U.S. Postal approved, I believe, is a 3-inch letter number.
But the sign meets this ordinance? The sign meets the requirements of this ordinance?
Yeah, we would prefer this sign because it makes it a lot easier. You know, minutes and seconds saves lives.
So
Correct.
can we
Thank you,
put that
Mark.
on the website that the fire companies have these available?
Chief, can you give send the information to me by email, and we'll get it posted.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve ordinance 420 fire prevention, chapter 214E code.
I make a motion to accept ordinance 420.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to new business. 2021 audit presentation. Zelensky and Axelrod. Did I get anywhere close?
Zelenkovsky, Axelrod.
Hello, my name is Steve Rock. I'm a senior at Zelenkovsky Axelrod. We are the auditors this year for Newberry Township for 2021. It was our first year doing the township's audit, but during our audit, we really did not run into any trouble. The first page of the audit report will give our opinion on the audit. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statement is presented fairly in all material respects. For the modified cash-based opinion, for the governmental activities, the business type activities, and then each major fund and aggregate remaining information of the township. Moving on, so on page 4 of the financial statements, again, these are on modified cash basis. It does differ from the generally accepted accounting basis, which is a modified accrual basis. So the the statements are lacking of the normal liabilities that you would see in a more modified accrual basis accounting. But it does present both the assets and then escrow deposits that are kept as liabilities. So at year end, for governmental activities, the township had about $6.7 million in assets, about $300,000 in liabilities, giving an unrestricted net position or a total net position amount of about $6.5 million. For the business type, for the water and sewer fund, about $8 million of assets, only about $12,000 in liabilities, resulting in about $8 million again of net position. Page 5 of the financial statements is the statement of activities. This shows your revenues, your expenses, and then it'll show the change in the net position amount then for the township. For governmental activities, there was about a total revenue of about $8 million during the year. Total expenses being about $6.6 million, resulting in a change in net position of $1.3 million. So therefore, an increase in the township statement of net position. Page 6 then shows that then broken out really about by the different funds of the township. The general fund, the highway aid fund, their capital reserve, and then the new fund that was created this year for the ARPA money that came in for the America Rescue Plan. The totals for the assets are pretty much the exact same as what they would be on the statement of net position, but it's just broken out by the different funds. General fund having about $4.7 million, highway aid $400,000, capital reserve $800,000, and the ARPA fund about $800,000. Liabilities then presented just that escrow amount that's held in general fund, same as previous. And then just shows the fund balances of each fund then, resulting in that $6.5 million total for all of them. Page 7 then, again, this breaks out your revenues and expenses, but this again will break it out then by your different funds. Again, just really the total being that the total change between revenue and expenses was revenues over expenses of about $1.3 million. Page 8 then, this is the breakout again of the sewer fund. Again, showing the assets, liabilities, again, net position of sewer fund about $8 million. Page 9 shows you the revenues, expenses for the total for the sewer fund for the year, and then shows you a total gain or loss then from the sewer fund, and about for the sewer fund it ended up being about a $700,000 gain in the net position of the sewer fund. Page 12 or 11 and 12. This will show you the statement of fiduciary net position, and this is the amount that's held in the pension trust accounts for both the police and non-uniform. So for the year, their total assets about $12 million, and then the additions and deductions that would have been on page 12 for payments. Again, there was an increase to the net position of the fund of about $1.1 million. just to point out a couple other, it then goes into your notes, your financial statements, a required portion of, or part of financial statements. These are probably about 30 pages long. The ones I wanted to point out are note 7. So note 7 will show you your pension liability. And on page 33 of that, shows you your total liability for the police pension. Oh, I'm in the wrong, that's the wrong page. Let's go back a couple pages. Page 28 shows the total liability that you have for your police pension. And the total pension liability being $10 million. The fiduciary plan, the investment plan that I discussed previously for the police, having it about $9.7 million. So it's a total pension liability of about $500,000, which is about a 95% funded plan. Then moving to note 8 for the non-uniform, page 33, the pension liability being $2.4 million. This amount is covered by, again, $2.3 million in the investment accounts, resulting in a $150,000 total pension liability. And then lastly, in the required supplementary schedules, these will show you your budget to actual schedules, and then also be the other required schedules that are required for the pension and OPEB plans. With page 42, your budget to actual schedule, I just kind of want to point out like the differences that you had overall for your budget or revenues and expenses. Budgeted revenues, it was about 5.7 million. Actual ended up being 6.5 million, resulting in $800,000 gain or increase over budgeted amount. Budgeted expenditures being 6.1 million. In actuality, actual amount was about 5.9 million, being about $200,000 less than what were budgeted. But overall, this resulted in a difference of about 1.2 million if you add up everything between like the overall gain or increase over the budgeted amounts. So overall, the budget ended up being an overall gain for the township for the year. But if the board has any questions about the report, I'd be happy to answer any.
I have a question. Can we hand this to the public anytime without right to knows and?
Does it not have to be advertised?
It does, yeah, but we're voting to approve it tonight, yes, but yes, you can hand it to the public once it's
I
approved.
thought we were voting to approve to advertise it.
We are, yes.
So they can't get it yet?
Not tonight.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, I'll make a motion to advertise the 2021 audit presentation.
I'll second that.
Or to advertise the audit.
Diane's taking it.
I second that.
I guess I made the motion myself.
You
Am I allowed to do that?
You're allowed.
Can I do that?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Under new business, item C, revised public meeting policy.
You missed a bond reduction.
Okay, sorry, B. Bond reduction for Woods Phase 3 to 199,805.53. This is per the recommendation of our engineer.
Yeah, this is for McNaughton subdivision. It's phase 3 of the Woods. He's asking for a reduction. We reviewed that, and we have a reduction of $396,081.86, and then we were asking for it to be reestablished at $199,805.53.
Any discussion? I'm looking for a motion to approve the bond reduction for Woods Phase 3.
I'll make the,
Go ahead.
well, I'll make the motion for the bond reduction for Woods Phase 3.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now C, revised public meeting policy.
Mr. Chairman, I could speak to that real quick. The public meeting policy was established, and then it was revised during the pandemic to cover the way that we did meetings. And there was a need to revise this for two reasons. One, the latest Sunshine Law Act changed how agenda items can be put on and added to the agenda. Previously, our policy stated at the discretion of the board, it could be added. And the Sunshine Law that was just recently enacted changed that, so the wording that we're changing it to is, and also about when it's posted. So we used to have it in here for 2 days to post on the website. The Sunshine Law Act requires 1 day prior to the meeting, but we generally do it on Friday before, so we don't. But the law, we wanted to make sure the policy was written per the law. And also, previously, the agenda shall be subject to change at the discretion of the board, either at the beginning of the meeting. That is now changed to at the beginning of the meeting in accordance with the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. The other change or revision, board members had requested that we add that resident or taxpayers desiring to have an item placed on the agenda shall submit such request to the township manager at least 2 business days prior to the meeting in order for the township to review and decide when the request will be placed on the agenda, and the township may, in its discretion, delay placing the requested item on the agenda until a future meeting. Those are the 2 changes on the policy.
We're still going to keep the posting our stuff on Friday, correct? We're not, okay. Just gives more time for people to look at it, that's all.
Any more questions or discussions? That's
It's
up to
kinda-
the chairman, I
yeah.
guess. It's up to the chairman, I guess.
It is up to the chairman, that's in the policy.
The only thing I would like to add, if you guys have questions, you guys, if you could maybe approach us beforehand so we know we can give you some educated answers on the stuff. Without, you know what I mean? If it happened a year ago, we don't remember what all happened, kind of educate ourselves on, that's all. That's all I asked for you guys, that's all. I enjoy talking to you, so.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the revised public meeting policy.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised public meeting policy.
I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, approve minimum municipal obligation for pension plans, $413,984 for police, $99,093 for non-uniformed. Tony, you want to?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's the minimum municipal obligation for contributions to both the police and the non-uniform pension plans. So both of those together is $513,077. And we do anticipate $239 as a state.
To
State aid. Correct. So we are
$239,000.
estimating, it's not guaranteed, but that's, so if that money comes through, then the township is on the hook for $274,077.
you said 234, you meant 234,000 we're looking for, right? Or we're thinking we will get.
No, we think we might, I have 239,000 is what,
Okay. I thought you said just 239, not
oh,
230.
239,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I just didn't hear the 1,000 at the end of that. Okay. Any comments or discussion on this? I'm looking for a motion to approve the minimum municipal obligation for police and non-uniform pension plans for 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the pension plan.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I was an aye also. Okay, I'm looking for a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills as listed.
For a second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn for this evening.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned. I didn't feel like it.